I've been noticing out on X and other places, one of the big conversations that's taking place is the idea of taxing remittances. Some people are calling for 100% tax on remittances. So, what are remittances? Well, in this case, it's specifically referring to foreign workers in the US sending their money back home to their home country or families. Most most people come to mind are the laborers from Mexico and Central America, and of course, our Indian tech workers. Now, the first thing is to understand exactly how remittances work. From online conversations, many of the people talking about this don't seem to know how this works. They seem to believe somehow that a person sending money home is almost like a direct transfer from the United States straight into their bank account. Some of them actually picture US dollars showing up in a Mexican bank. And that's not how it works at all. So let's just do an example from the US to Mexico. So an alien worker has cash instrument like a paycheck or something like that, or money in the bank. They designate an amount of money to send back home using a wire service. The most well known is Western Union, which has, I think, about 20 to 22% of the market. The wire service charges a fee for you using them. The money then goes through an exchange service. Essentially, there's every country has foreign exchange services. Some of them are dedicated to specific countries. Some of them handle almost all countries. So what the exchange service does is it has an account in both countries. One here in the U.S., one in Mexico, India, if you want to look at the other idea. And so the exchange service maintains money in the accounts of the exchanging nations. So essentially, they have an account in the US full of dollars, and they have an account in Mexico full of pesos. So the person sending money home, their dollars are now placed in a US account. A transaction fee is now deducted again for the actual exchange. The account in Mexico then disperses pesos to the recipient. So there isn't an actual exchange at this point. It's a balance sheet within the company itself saying, okay, I got X amount of dollars. I subtracted my money changer fee, and uh, now I'm going to disperse the money based on what the exchange rate is. So in either case, no foreign money is actually held in the accounts. There are no dollars in the Mexican account, and there are no pesos in the American account. From time to time, the exchange service rebalances their accounts by buying more currency. So, why does anyone really care about these foreign remittances? Well, the first issue people bring up is the idea that it's a drain on our economy or huge impact to our trade imbalance. Now, the question is that true? Is the amount a lot? The answer is not really. At best, remittances account for 12% of our trade imbalances. So the fact essentially we uh, haven't was considered a negative balance. We uh, take in more than we put out. Uh, Money being shipped out of the country considers is considered to go against the trade balance. And so that total amount is around 12%. And that's really the best number. It is an estimate because not all remittances can be tracked, but that's considered the top end. The lower end is actually around 8%. So, what about the whole economy? Well, remittances actually account for 0.44% of the overall economy. So, in the absence of evidence that trade imbalances have some multiplicative impact on the economy that's far greater than their actual size, this is actually minuscule and has negligible impact on the economy. Now, the real issue here, and this is the one that, in all honesty, I think the economic one is the one people like to use when they don't want to sound like against those people. Uh, so I think the real issue here is that people are looking for a method to make it more difficult to perform a remittance and thus make it a deterrent to workers coming to the US in the first place. So I believe the idea is if they're going to make it so difficult to send money home that no one's going to bother to come here. The problem with this idea is it's really easy to bypass a remittance tax. Uh, in fact, a remittance tax will have virtually no effect at all. The first thing would be crypto. Essentially, instead of going to Western Union, the worker can purchase crypto. They purchase it here, and it exists out in the void someplace. All they have to do is pass uh, the the coin redemption information to their family, and the family can redeem it there, and the transaction would be mostly untraceable. Now, pretty much any tech worker would be able to figure this out instantly. If 100% remittance tax were levied, savvy tech people would set up crypto transfer services. Because one of the arguments I heard thrown out there when I brought up crypto was, oh, those people are too stupid to be able to do something like that. Well, they don't have to. All they have to do is find one person who knows how to do it. So for a small fee, someone could move many different people's money via crypto and make a nice side hustle. In all honesty, if something like that happened, even though I really know nothing about crypto in its like the how tos, I know the general the overview of it. I could be up and running a crypto transfer business in 3 days if I really put my mind to it. This circumstance, hey, I just might. All right. Uh, so also, in addition to crypto, there's precious metal exchanges that are international. And they pretty much operate a very similar way where you essentially purchase gold in their vault someplace overseas, uh, usually on one of those untaxable, unregistered islands. And then basically the family back home could have the same account. And basically, the worker in the US buys gold on maybe the Turk Islands, and then the family back home sells the gold and cashes out back home. It pretty much operates, exactly the same way. You have two banks, and the exchange operates as the middleman. Other things that are easy to do: gift cards and prepaid debit cards. Now, the Nigerians, if you know anything about that, they do this all the time when they're scamming people. They do things like pretending they're the IRS, and they convince people to go down and buy, I believe it's Target gift cards. So, and you don't even need to get the card on the other side for some of these to work. All you need is the number. So, in these scams, the Nigerians trick people into going to buy Target gift cards to pay off their IRS lien, and then they just state the 16-digit number over the phone, and the Nigerians are able to take the money on the other side. Well, this could be done by pretty much anybody. Not all cards are as easy to unload on the other side, but I'm sure there's plenty of them, and they'd figure out very quickly ones work and which ones don't. One party would load the card with money, they would give the number on the card to the other party, and then they'll pull the money down on the other side. Um, in some cases, obviously what I was saying is no physical card is needed on the other end, just a number. And if you think this is too complicated, gift cards and prepaid credit cards can be mailed. Nothing says you international mail envelope style may take a little longer, but it's not that terribly expensive. You're talking like a couple of bucks. And you could easily throw a bunch of these cards into one envelope up to their max limit and actually run quite a bit of cash through the the mail that way. There's other things. Money orders don't have to be wire transferred. Money orders can be purchased directly and sent through the mail and redeemed on the other side. I've done this myself. Any US money order will pretty much work in any other country. They will recognize what the instrument is and it'll be treated as cash at the bank and converted into the local currency. Traveler's checks, although not the thing they once were, still exist. It's essentially a bearer instrument. Whoever has it can essentially cash it for money if it's signed. These could be easily sent through the mail. Certified checks, and to a lesser extent, personal checks. And once again, when I was overseas, I had a lot of circumstances where uh, foreign nationals needed to basically take US checks and convert them into money. And all it took was getting them into a bank, even if they were countersigned a dozen times. Once the check cleared, they had their money. So it's not that hard. Um, Another thing if someone could do is a person working in the US could use the internet to purchase goods somewhere near where the family is living. So, like for instance, there is Walmart in Mexico. Uh, Not in all locations, but this is just an example. I'm sure there's many others. In theory, what I could do here is basically go fill a cart full of food for my family down at the Mexican Walmart, and they go pick it up. So essentially, I just did a remittance, but I just basically turned it directly into food, or I could turn it into other goods that they could potentially sell if it well if something like day-to-day goods aren't available where they're at. I mean, in terms of the internet. Now, I suspect a lot of these people talking about remittances haven't really been overseas before. Even the most backward crap holes in the world, there's at least one person hooked up to the internet someplace. And usually it's a lot. There'll be an internet cafe or people with these crazy things called cell phones who have connectivity to the internet. Yeah, maybe it doesn't have all the bells and whistles we do, but it'll allow you to do all the same things we can: move money back and forth and numbers back and forth, uh, do purchases, remote purchases. To shut down remittances would require oversight or taxing of every single venue I just mentioned. You would have to monitor and tax crypto. Good luck. They still can't, they don't know how to do that yet. You'd have to figure out how to tax and track prepaid cards of all types, all proxy bearer instruments like traveler's checks and certified checks, and any wire that could possibly be used as a middleman. The cost would be phenomenal, far, far more than what's actually being sent by remittance. In short, this isn't even approaching a solution to foreign workers coming to the US. The point ultimately is if there's enough will to make a remittance tax happen, the energy for that should be actually redirected towards backing illegal immigration enforcement or working on worker visa reform. This idea of coming up with a backdoor method of stopping people from coming won't work, and it'd be an incredible waste of effort and time. Not to mention, a lot of the companies that you'd be going up against, like Western Union and such, probably have a lot of really powerful lobbyists who would prevent this from happening in the first place. All right. So, have you been following this remittance debate at all? Are there some items I didn't cover with it that I think would be um, germane to this conversation? What do you think of the foreign workers coming in? Is it a problem? If we need less of them, how would you handle the situation? Let me know in the comments. Please smash the like button. If the YouTube algorithms brought you here and you're not a regular subscriber, look at my other titles. You will find something of interest to you. You should subscribe. And if you know someone who might find this interesting, please share it with them. Thank you for spending time with me this evening. Hope to see you again in a future video.